This video is about journaling in the sense of keeping a diary in the bullet journal. It is part 4 of a series on the different elements in my monthly setup. I singled out one type of spread for each video in which I focus on and talk in detail about how I use it and why it works well for me while I prepare my BuJo for the next month. Functionality is at the center of this channel, and it is all about how the bullet journal as a tool can help us to stay organized. And this is also the idea behind this mini-series. If you're interested to watch the previous episodes, you'll find a link to a playlist in the description box below. By the way, this is the first time that I use a calligraphy brush pen, and I did not do any exercises in preparation for this header. I just consider writing out the header itself or all the headers throughout the month as you see me do it as an exercise by itself. This month I thought I'll try a boho style of decoration because I own a bunch of stickers that fit with this theme, and my sticker book also inspired the colors I chose for my pens. The bullet journal is not only a place where I have my task lists, but it is also an archive of my life, and a diary is part of such a record. Until now, I have not included my journaling spreads in my videos because it is very personal. But I thought a video on this topic is interesting because, just as with the organizational spreads, I also tried out different ways of how to best incorporate a diary in my bullet journal. I must say that I did not yet find a perfect solution. Every method has its pros and cons, but I'm still searching for new ideas. I have wanted to keep a diary long before I had a bullet journal, and I have started quite a few, always very motivated. Sometimes I have a hard time remembering experiences, especially the small things, but it is sad to just lose them in the depths of my brain. But to remember them, I just need a few words, a few indications, and then things will pop up in my memory. And for these small reminders, I wanted to have a diary. However, I never managed to keep up with this habit for longer than a few weeks. Since I have the bullet journal, I have been journaling consistently. So definitely the bullet journal has helped me with achieving my objectives in this case as well. I started out bullet journaling with a little self-made BuJo that didn't give me much space beyond the organizational spreads to write in. So for daily journaling, I kept a separate diary. This worked well only because it was during the summer trimester and I was not in my usual daily routine. This diary ended up being more like a travel diary, not realistic for any other time or period. When I started with my current notebook, I also began incorporating the diary into the BuJo. This was one reason why I started out bullet journaling not with setting up for a whole week, but day by day. Like this, I always had as much space for each day as I needed. So if I didn't feel like journaling, I just skipped it and directly continued with the notes for the next day. But if I wanted to journal, I could take out as much space as I wanted to write down any thoughts of the day. And as you can see, I tended to write quite a lot. But looking at a spread like this as a whole, it is visually very unclear. Tasks, notes, and diary are blurred into one kind of chaotic continuum, and it is pretty impossible to find whatever I would be looking for if I went back right now. Soon I changed my dailies anyway to a weekly layout. If you want to know the reasons behind that change, look into my last video. With a fixed weekly layout, my diary moved to the pages following my weeklies, where I would begin every day with a new header and take as much space as I needed for journaling. I had two major problems with this strategy. First, the diary part felt detached from the rest of my monthly setup, like an alien element somehow attached to the back of my monthly, not really integrated. And often I would just forget about it and not use it consistently. And secondly, there was a problem that I have had each and every time I had tried to keep a diary, which is that with no spatial limitations, I just write way too much for each day, which renders the journaling activity itself impossible because it was not feasible for the everyday life. The amounts I like to write were not reconcilable with my time and schedule. The result was that I did not write for a few days, and then on a weekend or so, when I had some time, I would catch up on my diary, writing out experience and thoughts retrospectively. Here you can see, for example, that I summarize a whole week in order to catch up. But that's not how I wanted it to be, and again I lost motivation. So in March, I basically ended up not journaling at all. As in my last videos, the music is by Long Way Hazel, and if you're interested to look them up, I'll leave a link to their YouTube channel down below. This very useful sticker book for planning was a gift from a very good friend, and it has these black numbers that I thought fit very well with the boho theme. To keep myself going with journaling, I decided to try out a new strategy that is quite popular on social media, which is the 1 line a day spread. I started with this in April, stuck to it in May, and want to continue testing it in June as well. So here you see me preparing the spread. On the positive side, it's a very doable spread. I review my day either in the evening or it's the first thing that I'm doing in the next morning when I sit down at my desk. Because the space is very limited, I am also forced to just pick one point of what had happened in my day and focus on this, which is a good thing in principle. However, even though I gave myself basically 2 lines a day by making it a double spread, there is not always enough space. A line is just enough to mention like the main event of the day, but it is not enough to write down a thought, an encounter, or emotions. And sometimes I just resort to my daily notes section for more journaling space. And that's also not the intention behind the design. So as you can see, I'm still trying to figure out what the best strategy is for me. So for the moment, and as long as I don't have a better strategy at hand, I decided to stick with a 1 line a day spread. But I still need to find a better compromise between containing myself to a doable amount of daily journaling on the one hand, and having enough space to write down really important things on the other hand. Below the space for notes, I added a water tracker because I tend to drink too little. If you use your BuJo for journaling as well, I would love to learn how you do it, so please tell me in the comments. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you want to support me, leave a like. If you want to see more of my content, subscribe. And wherever you are, have a sunny June.